But as far as like Battlefield of Mind, welcome back. I'm back with Jason Steiner, hero of Hero Stock, and we're just hanging. So this isn't going to be one of those like, all right, Jason, we're going to go fucking hard. Like, it's like, dude, just let's tell the story, tell what's going on, just be cool. And there's other episode that we did before when it was just you were still forming the idea of Hero Stock, and I think we were just talking just so people can catch up on our conversation about the acceptance of our own evolution. And that's a tricky concept for us because, like you said, I was just a dumb tile guy. And I'm like, what I was is not what I am. And I think this is something that as a part of leadership is a really difficult thing for us to gather. I had to do that too.
Sure.
Like we all just did stuff before I was a cook, or I worked in door-to-door sales or Verizon Wireless. Like I was the dude who, like, when you came in was like, all right, so do you need all your phone contacts from this phone to this phone? I got you. Like I was that guy before I wrote a book, before I started doing programs, before I was working in mindset, before I started a show. Do you want all your contacts moved over for you? Would you like your photos? Like, I'll help you. Would you like to buy a tablet? Get a speaker. Would you want me to put your screen protector on for you?
Yep.
You know what I mean? So what was I? I'm just the dumb Verizon guy. Well, there's an evolution that happens where you have to admit your evolution into leadership.
Sure.
You changed. You're evolving. You're turning into something different where you now with Hero Stock, the collaboration. I was explaining to my warriors before because I had my men's group.
Yeah.
I was explaining, I'm like, yeah, I'm on with Jason soon. And a couple of my vets are in there and they're like, I don't know what that means. What is it? What is Hero Stock and what is that? And I explained, I'm like, here's the best way I can explain it from what I've experienced. Jason has a energy, a passion, a persona about him that has made it so all of the nonprofits, all of the companies that work with veterans, the people who are mom and pops, the people who want to improve the lives of our veterans and our people who serve as first responders, wants to make the people who serve us, we want to make their lives better. And so what he's done is he's created a place where we can collaborate, not as competition, but as one giant Voltron energy of how do we truly, in every element, it doesn't matter if it's entertainment, if it's fun, if it's distraction, if it's deep work, doesn't matter. This is the place you go.
Sure.
And they're like, man, that's amazing. And they're like, I know people who are trying to do that. And I'm like, there's something about Jason. There's something about him that makes people go, this is the guy who we're gonna team up with. This is the guy who we'll follow.
Right.
And that's the evolution I'm saying even for you is like, you're not the dumb tile guy. You're something else who used to just do tile work.
Right. Yep. Yeah, 100%. And to me, it's crazy because, it was an idea in my front yard. It was never supposed to go past a one-night event. And, earlier this month, I was in Nashville and I sat down and had lunch with Doug Johnson. And, he's a famous singer-songwriter. And he listened to our pitch. And we had Scotty Hastings, manager, Karen, was sitting across the table from us. And she actually started to tear up because her dad was a Vietnam vet, I believe, if I remember right. He might have even been World War II. But like he came back with shell shock, PTSD, and it wasn't talked about. And, she was listening to what we were saying and she's like, we resented him for so many years for being the way he was and not realizing that mentally he had changed when he was over there. And he brought it back with him. And she's like, we hated him. We resented him. And now looking back, it was literally PTSD. And there was no studies on it. And there was no talk about it. And there was none of that. So it was just the angry guy that came back from the military that would yell at you all the time. So I got to do that. I got to sit down with them and pitch what we're doing to them. And the president of Black River Entertainment, we talked to him. We met 8 different veteran singers down there, singer songwriters, guys that are starting labels for veterans, that kind of stuff. And then I literally just got back yesterday from California. We were talking about that off the air. And I was, hanging out with Michael Ward from the Wallflowers. And I met a guy that built an $18,000 guitar, and just crazy stuff like that. And the people that I've met. And so for me, that's the cool piece of it, is get to meet, all these crazy people that if I would have stayed the tile guy, I never would have got to meet. So it's been pretty cool, the evolution of where we're at from where we started from, and it is. I'm not sure why, but the energy, the passion, it seems to pull people in and draw people to what we're doing, and they're like, man, we want to be a part of this. How can we be a part of this?
There's a heart element you bring, like even just being in your presence. It's not a presence of greed, but a presence of need. It's not a what can I get, it's how can I give.
Yep.
And that energy it's obvious to anybody who can read people. Like, I've gotten to hang out with you, there's not a part of you that's like, hey, welcome to my everything is about me show. In fact, you're like, please don't make it about me. And they're like, well, we got an award for you. And you're like,
Yep.
I was trying to help that group and help these people. And I wanted this guy to meet that guy, so that way they could help these guys. And they're like, here's your recognition for that.
Right.
Your energy is definitely, it's something that's, it's contagious in a very needed way. And so, like, praise to you on that one. Not to do an ego inflation, but an awareness of purpose.
Sure.
And guys who find their purpose. And this is where, whenever I work with anybody who's found a purpose, it's never easy. Right. And so, like, is what you're doing easy?
No, not at all.
It's fucking hard. Anybody I've ever met who's like, I have found my purpose. I wake up, I burn myself out. I am both ends of the candle. I am going, and I actually love doing what I'm doing, but it is hard.
Yep.
And that's where I respect you, because I know when I found my purpose, it's hard.
Yeah. Because you're constantly thinking. You're, how can I make this better? How can I make this, a better event for our veteran first responders and Gold Star families, and then how do you pay for it, right? Because we're all off donation. So then you're like, okay, we went from a $6,000 budget to a $20,000 budget to a $120,000 budget. We didn't take baby steps like it.
and you'll be pushing a multi-million-dollar budget soon.
Sure. Well, and we could have this year. We've been invited to 23 different states to do this. And that part blows my mind too, because people see what we're doing, and there's other groups doing kind of what we're doing. And they're like, trying. How do you get the traction that you have?
That's that magic thing. There's a spirit element to this, and I don't mean this in a hyper religious way, but there's a God element to what's happening. There's a purpose to it for people to be able to connect to. There's something else, because I have talked to other guys who are trying to do what you're doing.
Yeah,
like I've spoken to them. We need to collaborate, everybody. We need to do the thing, but they're visionaries without integration. Right. Like, there's a missing element to this. There's an idea without a passion. There's a missing pieces, but you're bringing in the pieces that they were missing. And that's why when I first met you, I was like, I could see that there's a different thing than the other guys.
Sure.
I see it. There it is. There's the thing. As a person who reads people for a living, I'm like, that was different. I see you. And that's a very cool thing to be a part of also. And I'm very honored. I can't wait. I'll be in the September one. Can't wait to serve back, because I'm like, I see and believe in you because you believe in others. Sure. And that's a person I can follow.
Yeah. Our September one is going to be crazy. Like, we just spoke to the American Hitmen, and they're an all veteran band. Great guys out of Utah, just finished a European tour. And they're like, dude, we want to come in and do this. And we've reached out to some bigger bands, and they're like, well, what's the budget on it? And it's like, dude, we're small. Like, we can't afford a $30,000 band. you know?
I think even that sentence though, you're not small. We just care more than we're paying. Like
Right,
this is for a purpose, not for a payment.
right,
And we're looking for the people who can see beyond their paycheck to go, we're here to serve those who serve.
right, right,
You know, and I do the same thing. Like I do high ticket for what I do. What I do is fucking hard. And I
right.
charge way lower than I should for what I do.
Sure.
But it's the purpose more than the payment. And this is also, I had a business meeting with my people yesterday. They're like, you're not you're not charging what you should for what you do. And I'm like, I know that, but the purpose supersedes payment for me. I do things out of heart and
Right,
purpose, not necessarily because like bottom line, you know, and that's where being able to say you're small compared to who?
right.
Because there's a lot of people trying to do this and you're big compared to all the people trying to create Voltron.
Sure,
You
sure.
know, you're putting lion bots together that never fit together before, and if somebody doesn't catch the vision, you're going to regret missing the show, not how much do I owe you.
Right, right, right. Yeah, and that's the cool thing is when you grab these, local bands, you grab even the bigger bands. The guys like American Hitmen. They've done a European tour, but they see what we're doing and they're like, yes, yes, we want to be a part of this. Not how much are you paying me? And so that's been really cool. And the veteran singers, I've had veteran and first responder singers crawling out of the woodwork. Like I was reaching out to them when we started this, right? Hey, Scotty, can we get you to come in and do this? Hey, Barbara, would you come in and do this? Now they're like, hey, can I come in and do this? Like, how do I get on the roster to be part of this? And I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool now where people are reaching out to me going, we want to do this.
Yeah.
So and even with podcasts, last year prior to the event, I think I did 24 different podcasts and I did 41 episodes in like 7 or 8 months.
Dude, you were on mine. You were one of mine. Yeah.
Yep. and
Yeah.
and I was hustling, right? I
Mm-hmm.
was hustling. I was doing everything I could to spread the word, and now I'm starting to get podcasts reaching out to me going, "Hey man, we've heard about this. We want to talk to you about it." And so that's been kind of cool too, is now we're starting to get that feedback from outside where they haven't seen it. They've just heard about it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, we want to bring this into what we're doing.
I did a training the other day that correlates exactly with what you just said. And it was a belief training for people who are trying to fight for their dreams. And a lot of times people are waiting for validation so that way they can feel they're doing the right thing. But I had to remind them that people are not going to get it when you start. But if you start and keep going, eventually they'll get it.
Right.
And that's what I've noticed too. I had people that I reached out to be like, hey, can we collaborate? Can we work on stuff? Who blew me the fuck up, didn't even return a call, like
Right.
blew me off. Who now I get messages like, can I please be a part of what you're doing? I had people I would send emails to who have big shows who are like, well, who the fuck are you and what do you do? Who are now like, can we do a collaboration? I'm seeing what you're doing.
Right.
They won't get it at first, but keep going until they just get it.
Yep.
And don't wait for them to get it.
Sure.
They'll get it eventually. Just
Yep.
keep going. They'll get it when they do. And then it'll just keep going faster. But it's those keep repeating the same thing, whether they're there or not, whether people get it or not, keep just doing it.
Yep.
And so what are you doing? Well, I'm just connecting these guys to these guys and these guys to these guys. I didn't think it was that big a deal. Keep doing it.
Yep.
It gets
Yep.
bigger, and like each wrap of the yarn makes the ball bigger.
Yep.
And you're like, I didn't think one wrap of yarn would matter. Like keep going until they go, that I see what you're doing. Now I get it. When you had only the little ones and you were doing this, I'm like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Right.
But now you're doing this and they're
Right.
like, okay, this is legitimately a thing. And now you got people grabbing other ends and you're walking around the whole thing. And they're like, how do I add my yarn to this? How do I become a part of this thing? But all it is just one wrap at a time.
Yeah. Yep.
And they may not get it at first, but they will later.
Right. Right. Yeah. And it's cool. You start out with the one set of hands. And for us, a year and a half later, 2 years later, we're talking, 100 hands on the yarn ball, and helping wrap it, and yeah, and it's just it's been, and I'm not going to say overwhelming because it really hasn't been overwhelming, but it's been very touching to see the amount of people that see the vision of what we're doing, and they're like, this is needed. This is needed in our community. We reached out to the Chamber of Commerce down in Rolla, because that's our kickoff event this year, and me and Jesse were coming back from St. Louis, and we reached out to them, or not St. Louis, I'm sorry, from Tennessee, and we were talking to these ladies, and we're like, okay, this is what we're doing, and we want to bring it to your town. Like, we've already got feet on the ground down there. We've got, and they're like, yes, how do we facilitate making this happen? Because they saw just through us talking of what we're bringing to their town, and they're like, yes, we need this in our community. And they're boots on the ground now for us down there. They're talking to businesses down there. They're talking to the fairgrounds to get a reduced price for the fairgrounds, and like they're doing our work basically down there because they see what we're doing, and they're like, we need this in our town. It's not a want. They need this in their town. And we've been reached out to there. I think we have 6 different locations in Texas now. That's like 2025. You can do a full run through the whole state of Texas. And I'm like, that's cool. But I also still run a business that pays my bills.
There's an evolution, though. Again, like there'll be a point where this thing, because it takes a couple of years until this now makes more than my business.
Right.
And it will.
Sure.
It's part of the evolution of it. And there'll be a point where you have to go, I can't keep doing my old thing because my calling and purpose goes a different direction. There's an evolution out of it. And I think that's the right word for it. I know people want to be like, evolution is the Galapagos Islands. Like, slow down. No, we are changing from what we were into something more.
Right.
And so what you did, the chapter for, tile work and building that business, which was a beautiful thing. You built that from literally just from the clay and the muck. You have built this into a thing, and you're like, but now that chapter has done what it needed to do for me to go to the next thing. Listen, I've done so many screen protectors. It goes from one thing to the next thing. And then I built a fitness company, and I built it, and it was beautiful, and it still goes. People still use it.
Sure.
But I evolved from body to mind. Sure. And you evolve. That I love that baby, but it has grown, and I'm going to let it go to college, and it did its thing.
Yep.
Farewell. It's time for me now to evolve to the next piece.
Right.
Right. And so it's cool to watch your evolution where you're like, I was the tile guy. Yes, you were. But now you will be the guy who changes lives in a very different way.
Yep. Yeah, and that's, and you came to the event last year, and with the growth, I mean, we had, went from 100 to 1,000 people, so we had huge growth last year. We went from 12 vendors to 44 vendors. Just the growth in 1 year made me realize that, yes, we're hitting our marks. We're doing what we're supposed to be doing. I've found my new purpose, and that's, I think everybody has to have a purpose, and my purpose is Hero Stock, and it's a lot of hours, it's a lot of time, it's money out of pocket, to do it right now, but I see the effects of it. I had a buddy last year, and this was my win last year. I had a lot of wins last year, having all the podcasters come in that I got to talk to through the podcast, but never got to meet, and I got to meet a ton of different podcasters that I've been on their shows, and we've got a relationship, and, over text. Well, now we've got it face to face. We got to hang out at the Airbnb and, and that kind of stuff. So I had those wins last year, but my big win was I've got a buddy that was Army EOD, spent 15 years defusing bombs. and multiple tours. Watched a couple of those guys basically disappear, right next to him type thing. Severe PTSD, severe anxiety, does not do crowds. He called me up the day before and he goes, dude, I'm going to come out and I'm going to be there to support you, but I'm not going to stay long. And I said, man, I totally get it. You don't do crowds, you don't do noise, like 100% get it. He was there for 5.5 hours. And he sent me a text the next day and he goes, I have never felt more relaxed in a room full of killers in my life. And I was like, that's my win, right? I got him out of the house for 5.5 hours. I got him into a situation that was outside of his comfort zone, but he realized it wasn't outside his comfort zone. And he had that evolution of, hey, maybe I can do stuff like this. So that was probably my biggest win last year.
It's a powerful moment, and I love that he said it that way. Like, I've never felt more comfortable in a room full of killers in my life. Like,
Yep.
and it's true, but I think it's a different level of understanding that I'm going to go back to that lady's dad who came back, the angry man, where you don't understand that these people who are serving have to sacrifice part of their humanity to protect you.
Right.
They have to forfeit an element of compassion in order to make sure that you don't have to go on to a life and death situation to do so. They have to look at death right in the eye. This guy, every time he was called to do a job, this could be the last 5 minutes of your life.
Yeah.
Every time to face death, look it right in the eye every day you go to work is not, I don't give a shit what your office deadlines look like. I don't care what your quota is. I'm not concerned about, like, did you send in the documents with the right cover sheet? When you have to go, if I push the wrong thing today, I explode.
Right.
It changes you. And so for this guy to go, oh, okay, man, for you, I'll have the courage to challenge that part of me that looks at death every day and then come out finding camaraderie and compassion and love and connection and safety and security in a room full of people who we do not advertise differently. We are dangerous, but we are the lion that protects you. But don't mistake, we are still lions.
Right.
We're just your lion.
Right.
And this is something where the guys, even there, the love and compassion, everybody could feel it. Hanging with, like, Eric Mello and all of these, Brian, who's there, you can just everybody's just like, these are all warriors who are able to just feel camaraderie in the room, and it felt good. It felt good to meet with the people who are like, we've been into some shit.
Right. Right.
And there's some people who have been through some shit,
right.
And you see them. That's where you get to talk with you, and you get to talk with the guys who've been there, Donald Dunn, Barbara Sims, like these people who have been through some shit.
Right.
And they're here going, we're together. We're all stronger, and it's cool to just see all these warriors together. So I want to kind of go back to that guy where people will go back into the judgment of, like, I was so resentful of him. He's so angry. He's mean. He's shitty. He's fuck him, and they're mean to people who come back who had to sacrifice their humanity to protect you. And then they're judged and blamed and shamed and ridiculed. And the suicide rate for our vets and first responders has doubled. Yeah. I don't want to take our police officers out. I don't want to take our EMTs out. I don't want to take our nurses out. I don't want to take our firefighters out. Like, they have to go into people's worst day of their life for a living.
Yep.
That's a tough toll that takes on for our people. And I'm also trying to work into those fears. I got police stations right now that are like, how can we integrate the mindset work, the deep work?
Right.
This is why I called you too. I want an all veteran group.
Sure.
And I would love it to be sponsored where, like, can we support these vets where I will do the deep work? I will work with PTSD. I will work with extreme traumas. I will do the deep work. And I think people don't understand that the podcast is a thing I do for entertainment, but I really do go and do the deep work. Months, I'll go in and dig the trenches with you to pull your soul back to the top so you can find your humanity. And I've worked with a lot of veterans who are in my community like, dude, I was a shell until you dug all of the weight off of me so I could come back out and be human again. But I didn't know how to do it in a healthy way because I was called the angry guy. I
Right.
was called the mean guy. I was called
Yep.
the psychopath, the lunatic, the piece of shit. I was judged and shamed and blamed. And I go, no, 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 no. We just have to rebuild your humanity back up because there is goodness in you. That's why you sacrificed that feeling so you can protect. Let's pull it back up in a
Right.
healthy way.
Right. Yep. Yeah, and that's and that's why we included the first responders and Gold Star families into what we're doing. The Gold Star families, they live with it every day. They lost their loved one for this country. And that was an easy integration of we're bringing them into the fold of what we're doing, and not only honoring them for the person they married, the dad, the brother, whatever that piece may be, but for them being the family that is still carrying their name. They're still talking about them. They're still, you know, keeping their name alive, keeping them alive through their stories. But then, you go to the first responder side of it. And like you said, it's their days are somebody else's worst day of their life. Whether it's a firefighter that's running into a burning house, or, a cop that has to, protect people. It's, and for them, military, you do the 6, 9, 12-month deployment, usually, whatever it is, and you come back home and you can reset a little bit before you have to jump back into that world. Um, Cops, firefighters, EMS, EMT, corrections. I mean, they're in it every single day of their life, and yeah, they get vacation, so they take 2 weeks off and then they go right back into it. And it's so for me, adding those pieces into what we're doing too it's an easy integration for me because they are our heroes, right? Whether they want that title or not, guess what? You are the heroes. You're the ones that stand and protect. And you don't think twice about running into a burning building or, taking out somebody that's shooting a bunch of people, whatever it may be. You're the heroes, as well as our military, that obviously. Um, so when we changed the name and we created the hero stock, it was simple. That was simple math to put them right into that what we're doing. So
Yeah, the vision's contagious, dude. It's powerful. If you could even like just keep conveying on what would you like next? Like if you had a next wish, and anybody listening who's like, I actually know someone who does that thing, what would your next wish be? You're like, I wish we had this thing. Not how do we just pay for it? Like, what would the wish be? And if any listener is like, hey, I know that guy,
right,
what would the
right.
wish be?
You know, um, Probably one of my biggest wishes to get somebody like Gary Sinise behind us, somebody that has the power to the higher platform to explain what we're doing, to let us explain to him what we're doing, something like that to help grow this. And I honestly, my biggest wish is to be able to show it to all 50 states. I want to take it to all 50 states and go, look, we can all work together, and together we are bigger, stronger, faster, and we can touch more lives. We can create better environments for our first responders, Gold Star families, and our military. Let's set aside the idea of my nonprofit is the do all sale, because there's no such thing. There's no one nonprofit out there that can save everybody. So let's get rid of that mindset. Let's bring it together and say, okay, now I've got a group that does hunting and fishing. I've got a group that does motorcycles. I got a group that jumps out of airplanes. I've got And I know these people and I trust these people. So I can go, you, oh, you don't like this, what this group is doing as far as the activity or whatever. Guess what? I have a group for you over here. We want to be that hub. And that's my ultimate goal, is to be the hub where our heroes come to plug in and get connected within the world of good nonprofits. Because if you're a shitty nonprofit, you won't come to our event. Period. You will be vetted, you will be checked out, and if you don't meet requirements, you're not coming.
What are some of the requirements so people can go like, well, what are you looking for? Or what is he talking about? What are some requirements that are like, these are the standards in which I operate?
We're working through that right now, because we didn't vet last year, and that was one thing that I want to do this year is vet our nonprofits. And part of it is, are you out in the community doing stuff? Are you getting your group out doing what you're supposed to be doing? And part of that is through social media. You watch their social medias. Are you actually doing equine therapy, or is this ranch for you to go out and ride horses? Are you fulfilling your mission? And if you're not, there's something wrong. Because there's a lot of nonprofits in this world. I think I'd heard there was like 66,000 nonprofits for veterans. And I'm going to tell you right now, we've run into some really crappy ones. And, so I know they're out there. So we're looking at their financials. Are your financials on the up and up? Do you have money missing out of your account that you can't account for? And that's all public knowledge for a nonprofit. That's all public knowledge. Are you fulfilling your mission? Are you doing what you say you're doing? Do you have people on social media talking about you in a negative way? If so, why? What was the cause of that? I was part of a nonprofit. I was actually one of the founders, and we had some stuff go bad, and it wasn't the board's fault. It was the board's fault to a certain degree, because we didn't have the oversight as the board that we should have. But it was one individual that decided to do something that basically blew our nonprofit apart. And they're still struggling to try to get things back together. But I ended up leaving after Hero Stock kind of took off and that kind of stuff. But so I've seen the good, bad, and ugly. And just because you're not on that list to be able to come doesn't mean you can't clean up your act and come in next year. But for this year, these are the reasons why you're not invited to our party. You can come as an individual and see what we're doing. You're just not going to set up a booth and talk about it. So that's kind of where we're at. And we're still working through that vetting process of how deep do you go? You can't always believe everything you hear, and that kind of thing. So you've got to really do a lot of research on, are you doing what you say you're supposed to be doing? And, I know nonprofits, like I know at some point in time, this will become my full-time job. So we don't look at, are you paying yourself to run your nonprofit? Right? I don't care about that, because that's part of it. It's more, are you bringing in $50 million and you're spending $42 million on advertisement on the TV and not doing anything with the other 8 million that you're bringing in? Because there's a national that does that. They spend $42 million a year on admin and advertisement. And sorry, you could spend that $42 million over here. How many people could you help with $42 million? So that's part of what we look at too, is, what are your admin fees? What are your cost percentages of running your events compared to what you're bringing in? So those are kind of some of the ones that we're working through right now is, and a lot of it goes back to social media, watching their social media. Are you really taking people out hunting, or are you just sitting on this money and doing nothing with it?
Mm-hmm. I got 5 words so far out of that explanation that may be your categories. I got honor, honesty, action, integrity, accountability.
Yep.
Those are like the categories you explained. Like, I think these are our vetting system right now. These are the pieces that we're looking for to see if you're one of us.
Sure. Yep.
Honor, honesty, action, integrity, accountability.
Yeah, and that's what it is. I mean, you've got to meet those requirements, or you don't get to set up your booth. And I don't want to be the ass about it, but I'm also not going to be the one that places somebody that's in a bad place into a bad place.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I've seen the repercussions of a bad nonprofit, and it tore people apart. It tore friendships apart. It, it crushed people. I mean, people were crying themselves to sleep at night over it because they were so passionate about what we had in that nonprofit, and to have everything blown apart the way it was. I don't want to be that person that puts somebody into a bad situation, even if they're in a good place, and put them into a bad situation.
Yeah, it's a heavy toll watching a corruption of a dream, especially a pure dream. It's like watching a unicorn die.
Yep.
It's like, it's just sad in every way.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's just sad. But someone was like, I want the horn, and you're like, no, 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 don't kill it and take the horn. It's a magical creature. Leave it
Yep.
alone.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
it'll take you wherever you want to go. Screw all of you. I'm getting that horn.
Yep.
And you're like, the greed destroyed the dream.
Yep. Yep. And I watched it firsthand, and I was the VP of hockey ops. I was the coach of the team. I was the main fundraiser. I wore a lot of hats within that organization, and I spent a lot of time and a lot of money on it. And more time probably than money, but watching it fall apart because of the greed of one person, and now it's tainted. Like, people
Mhm.
don't want to deal with it because they don't want to have anything to do with it, because they're like, okay, what's coming next? What's going to happen around the corner? Is this going to happen again? Is this, and we as a board didn't have checks and balances that we should have had. And basically, it was one individual that destroyed the whole piece that really was a magical thing. Like, you put combat veterans into a locker room, and they're confined to this little box, and they're all sitting there getting dressed, and we're talking about the game, and you look over, and all of a sudden there's this side conversation going, and it's, hey man, where were you at? Oh, I was here. Oh, dude, I was there too. And and they start talking through their stuff right there in the locker room, because it's a safe space. They're surrounded by people that understand. And and then you go out on the battlefield, and you battle through this game, and then you come back to the locker room, and you still have that, you get that connection back. Now we've just battled together as this group, and win, lose, or draw, we fought our asses off. And now we're back in our place again where we can talk, and it was a very, very cool, USA Hockey set this up years ago, and it was a very cool idea. Um, it just takes one bad apple to spoil the bunch. And it happened. I watched it happen, and I never want to be a part of that again, because I lost friends out of it because I
It,
was on the board.
it's a heavy toll in leadership. I have things like this even in my group where like it's a guy who's like maybe not breaking some of the rules but could be the bad apple, and you're like, it's a really tough thing for like this can corrupt the whole thing.
Yeah.
This could mess the whole thing up. And I don't want to destroy this, or I don't want to ruin that, or I don't want to kick someone out, or I don't want to have to do those choices. But like that's a part of this honor, honesty, action, integrity, accountability, that like sometimes you got to do the not cool thing because it's the right thing.
Yep.
and it's a tough thing to have to do. I highly relate. I run my organization's getting pretty big. You
Yep.
know, it's getting there. We've got hundreds of men now, and I'm like, man, I don't like some of the lines that leadership has to bring to the table. But
Sure.
I constantly say I'm with you on this one. The battlefield reveals who you are. The road to leadership is paved in shit, and like the guys who are the furthest ahead on this road of shit can come back and go, I know what shit spot you're in. I went through that shit.
Yep. Yep.
You know, and we have to walk a nasty, hard path. It's like ice skating uphill.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
it's a grind, and
Yep.
people will respect you for for doing it because most never will.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. And for me, it's sharing. I like the sharing side of it because a lot of people will hold their stuff to their heart. Like they won't share anything. Um, we run a tiered sponsorship for any of our sponsors, and it goes anywhere from $250 up to $25,000. We just added corporate tiers in this year, but prior to that, I'd had a conversation with a guy up in Michigan, and he runs the Primal Outfitter, and it's a veteran first responder nonprofit. They take them out fishing, hunting, camping, survival stuff, like all this. And I was talking to him, and he goes, "Dude," he goes, "I'm trying to buy this $30,000 boat because it's got like a big deck in the back, and I can get a guy in a wheelchair in and out of there much easier than I can my 19-footer, and it gives them room." And I said, "Well," I said, "Hey man, I got this tiered sponsorship. I'm like, I would love to share this with you. You can use it, throughout your town or whatever your area is, and say, hey, I'm trying to buy this boat, and this is why. Would you be one of my sponsors at one of these levels? And this is what you get out of it." He took that tiered sponsorship, twisted it for him, put in whatever he needed to, and ended up raising $30,000 in about a month and a half and bought that boat. And now he's taking guys in wheelchairs out fishing. Now he's got track chairs that were donated to him so he can take them out hunting. And I've done it with multiple groups. Wheels for Warriors USA, we just partnered with them. They
Mm-hmm.
give you got to see the bike presentation.
Yeah, Jesse's
Super
the
cool
man.
deal.
Yeah, for sure.
They're now using our tiered sponsorship to sponsor these motorcycles.
Look at what you're doing, man. Like, this just a dumb old tile guy. It's almost like watching some sort of like fairy godfather. You know, some sort of like what do you need is like my wish would be if I could just have the boat to help these guys, or if I could just have the funds to help these people, or if I could get this thing off the ground. And you're like, bibbidi bobbidi boo. And then like boom, like we'll create the way for that to happen, and now you have wishes coming true because you have a thing that, like I said, there's a magic about you, bro, that like it makes wishes come true around you.
Right.
Like, and I don't want to downplay this beautiful gift that you give to people. Like, you're the fairy godfather, man. Like, bibbity bobbity boo, you have a boat. Bibbity bobbity boo, you've got a motorcycle.
Right.
Like you have a stage to play on, you have a platform to speak, you have donations to use for true honest integrity and action and honor, the purpose that you have. Now you have a way to make the dream come true,
Right.
and there is no bong at midnight. It's like your wish is now granted. It's like the Jason Steiner is the Jason the genie. Like, what's your wish? Be
Right.
specific on your wish. What kind of boat would you like? What kind of bike would you like? Make your wish specific, and
Right.
we shall make it real.
Well,
There's
and
a
that's to me, it's. I know the fundraising side is hard. Like raising funds is hard. If I can help somebody do that, that's going to use those funds for good, I have no issues
yeah.
helping them out. I was on a podcast with Brian Roof,
I love
and
Brian
every day is a
Roof.
Saturday.
Every day is a Saturday.
Right.
Brian's awesome.
And it was a wacky Wednesday, right? It was one of the play around wacky Wednesday ones, and Derek Thompson was on it with us, and there was a nonprofit on there, and he was talking about, man, it's I just got to raise funds. I just got to raise funds. I got to raise funds. I got to raise funds, and I said, hey, dude, I said, I'm gonna tell you what. I said, after we get off this, I said, I'll give you my phone number. Shoot me a call. Let's talk through some stuff. And he goes, well, actually, you got to fill out the form and then talk to my people, and then my people will set it up for you to talk to me. And I went, no, no, I have no desire to talk to you now. Like, I'm offering my time to try to give you ideas, and I have to talk to your people and fill out a form, and my time's too valuable. Sorry, I don't even want to talk to you now. And I was
It's
floored.
Yeah, it's man, you make such a good point here. It's amazing how one sentence can destroy the connection. It's
Yep.
amazing how one sentence can ruin a good thing.
Yep.
And I think there's it's a really difficult line to the like I said, the integrity, the honesty, the honor, the action, the accountability. It's it's a solid line that if you cross, it's obvious.
Yep.
And in that moment, you're like, I'm offering you a chance to have the dream, your wish granted. I'll grant your wish. And he's like, only if you do it on my terms. And you're like, you
Yep.
fucked up your wish.
Yep.
You fucked up your wish, man.
Yeah.
You had it. God gave you the opportunity. It was right. He said, help that guy. I was like, I'll help you. He's like, only on my terms, God.
Yep.
You're like, man, you
Yep.
messed up.
And I have no issues somebody calling me and going, dude, how do I fundraise? What are you good at? What do you enjoy? Well, I enjoy softball. Okay, set up a softball tournament. Well, I don't know how to do that. I said, okay, let's talk through it. And they raised like $9,000 at a softball tournament. It's like, I'm willing to take my time to talk to you and explain my thoughts. And I'm no guru, I'm no genius on raising money,
Maybe.
but it's
Maybe you are.
maybe I am. I don't know.
Maybe you are. Maybe you are.
But it's a thought process, right? It's spitball, and it's being able to say, okay, where do you excel at? Do you excel talking to people? Because guess what? If you do, here's how you do this. You go into this and do this, this, and this, and you talk to them about this, this, and this, and you be honest and you be upfront and you be 100% transparent. A lot of times people are going to go, dude, how much do you need?
That's awesome. Yeah,
It's,
that's powerful.
or you want to set up a tournament. Okay, well, what kind of tournament? Okay, how are you going to format it? What are you going to charge per team? What is, and it's literally just talking through something and somebody taking notes on the other end going, hey, I can do this. I can set up a softball tournament. I can make a couple $1,000 on it. That will pay for a hunting trip for this group.
Yeah.
And literally, I do not mind doing. I actually enjoy doing that because I make a connection with another group.
Yeah. Listen, I'll be open with you, man. I need to team up with you on this because the fundraising element that's not how my strength is.
Sure.
And so to plug in with your strength, my strength is doing the deep work and doing the speaking and going in there and like give me the hurt ones. I'll show you how to build. I'll pull them out of hell. I'll go get them.
Right.
But I need hell equipment.
Right.
But I can't go like, hey, can I get hell equipment? Because I don't know what I'm talking. Like, that doesn't make any sense to people. Right. I got to go into the fire. Can I get some equipment for hell? They're like, nobody goes into hell on purpose. Right. I'm like, I do. I'm going to go get this guy who was molested. I'm going to go get that guy who killed his best friend. I'm going to go get that guy who watched his best friend blow up. I'm going to go get this guy who got shot and killed in service. I'm going to go get this guy who just saw a woman he talked to yesterday that he wanted to save kill herself. I'm going to go get that guy. I'm going to go get him.
Yep.
But I need some equipment. How do I articulate that? And you say, I'm no genius, but you just articulated something in such a simple way that the simplicity is genius.
Yeah.
I think that you have a gift, man. I'm calling you the fairy godfather from now on, man. You make wishes come true. But there's a gift there. There's a power there that I don't want to downplay this, just my heart to heart, brother to brother. I'm like, man, what a powerful gift you have to grant wishes, to give it, to make it like your dream should come true. Let's make it true.
Right. Right.
And you can give that to people by showing them a simple way to make their wish a reality.
Sure.
Man, so much honor in what you do. And I
Well,
don't want you to downplay it. It's powerful, man.
and I want to work with people that's going to work at it. Right. I've got another group that I was dealing with that they literally want to sit there and let money fall in their lap. And I'm like, that doesn't happen. Like, you can pray all you want. God is not going to put money in your lap for your nonprofit. You have to work for it. You have to be out there. You have to grind for it. It doesn't just happen. I sat down. We got our new letter put out this year for our donorship. We got our new tiered systems. We've got our flyers. I sat down personally, hand addressed 800 envelopes, folded 4-page flyers, stacks, stuffed the envelopes, stamped the envelopes, and mailed them out by myself. It doesn't just happen, right? You've got to work for it. And if you don't work for it, or you don't want to work for it, I don't want to work with you. Because I can talk till I'm blue in the face. I'm not doing it for you. I'm going to tell you how to do it or how I would do it. But if you don't want to grind for it, don't call me. And if you do, and we talk through something, and you don't utilize anything I talk about, I'm gonna be hard pressed to talk to you again, because I've got 12 other guys that's calling me going, "Hey, dude, I need help with this." And if they're gonna grind for it, I want to work for them with them. And it's cool watching the ones that are using it. I brought up Wheels for Warriors. They just did theirs.
Mm-hmm.
They just put out their new system, and this is how they're raising funds. Where before it was, they would literally go to these motorcycle presentations and hope that somebody would give them $1,000 check. Right?
I
I
can
mean, they were
relate.
out there, they were grinding, they would go to events and that kind of stuff, but they never had anything set up where you give me X amount of dollars and we will give you this. You're on every podcast. You're on every time I'm on the TV. Every time we're here, we're talking about you and our pitches or whatever. So now they have that set up. They just sold their first diamond sponsor.
Just so people know, what's a diamond sponsor?
So for Wheels for Warriors is 6,000.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know their full system. I would have to look at it
Okay.
because they took mine and tweaked it and stuff. But like for us, we have corporate level. So our corporate level diamond sponsor is $25,000.
Mm-hmm.
You get mentioned on every TV ad, every radio, every podcast, and stuff like that. And then there's the swag bag, and you have a chance to talk at the event. A chance for you get a booth. And then for that one, we're actually putting their logos on the sleeve of all of our T-shirts for a year.
Damn.
So we've got one out in Colorado we're working with right now, Doc Goodbeard, beard products.
Yeah. I saw stuff. I was checking stuff out.
Super cool guy. Kevin's he's a Marine. I'm actually supposed to go out in February and meet with him, but they're talking about possibly coming in at a diamond sponsor on corporate level. And he's like, I believe in what you're doing. I see the need for it. I believe in it. I want to help. So he's talking about coming in as a diamond sponsor. Now we go down. So we go 25,000 down to 10,000 are our corporate sponsors. And every tier down, you lose something, right? The higher the tier, the more you get. And then for our local sponsors, we start at 5,000 and go down to 250. And all of our funds that we bring in, they go to pay for the venues, the porta-johns, the insurance, the singer-songwriters, the sound and lights. So basically what we bring in, last year what we brought in, over 85% went back into the event.
Mm-hmm.
And we're paying these singer-songwriters. Some of them are charging $500. If you're bringing in a full band, they might charge 3,000. Um, but it's, the sound and light is $3,000 to $4,000. Your porta johns is $1,500. Your insurance is $1,000. Like, all these things just add up, as you go through it. Um, and we're working on sponsorships right now for this year. And I was thrown in the spotlight for Barry Law, and they did that mission service award. And I stood in front of the Creighton basketball crowd and did my, little queen wave, and but it's something that I don't like being put in, right? I don't like being in the limelight. I don't want to be, I'm the face of it, but I don't want to be the face of it, that type of thing. The recognition isn't what I'm looking for. I want to help more people. That's my ultimate goal, is to help more people. But it was cool because, like, I got put in front of 40,000 people, and our logo got put in front of 40,000 people, so now there's 40,000 people in Omaha that have heard of Hero Stock, and will we get a sponsor out of it? I have no idea. Barry Law wants to sponsor because they see what we're doing and they're tied in with the veterans, and but it's literally getting out and talking to people. That's the easiest way for us to generate funds, is being face to face with somebody and getting that interaction and let them understand and see the passion and see the love for what we're doing, for them to go, this is cool. I want to help this. That's my biggest asset, is being in front of people. So
It's man, I can't say enough how inspiring just the way you put your pieces together. You got a gift, bro, man. You really do. There's a gift to you. There's a power, and like you just mentioned something, and just there's like 50 beautiful pieces to what you just laid out.
right.
And you're like, it's just a regular day for me. We're like, dude, the dream is beautiful, and it's fragile, and it's powerful, and it has potential to change everything or to destroy everything. It is a beautiful, amazing thing that you are doing. I think that it takes the kind of man who operates the way that you do to do it. And it's a natural leadership inside of you that like is really coming out, man. I'm looking forward to just the pieces of this just exploding more and more. And the way that you articulate, the way that you can go look at it just a little different and your dream can come true is true.
Yep.
There's again, I love your humility, and it's not misplaced, but I also don't want you to downplay the reality of how powerful what your ability is.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm seeing it more and more, the watching Gunny buy that $30,000 boat. And then I got to fish on it.
Yeah.
Like, we got to go up, we went up to scout venues up there, because we were going to do one up in Michigan. And he took us out on his 30-foot boat, and we fished on the boat that I helped him create something to be able to buy that. And, so it was that, for me, that was the full circle moment, getting to help him create this, to raise the funds to buy this, to then be able to fish on it with him and my daughter. Took my daughter up too. So,
The fairy godfather, bro.
Right. Ace calls me the mayor of Heroville. So
you were like bibbity bobbity boat. And he's like, like it's man, I'm honestly super proud and honored for like the stuff that you're doing, man. I'm happy to be part of it. I believe in you and the journey you're on. And I also want to plug into like your power so that I can use my ability to also help more people with the ability you have. Your skill is not my skill.
Sure.
And my thing is not your thing,
Yep.
but together we are stronger. Yep. And so I definitely want to be a part of what you're doing so I can improve what I'm doing, so that together we just make that Voltron. You can't fight that. It's too strong. Yep. And, we have to take into account too, what are we going against? We're going against the biggest dog of all, like the way the government is set up and the way things are set up. We know it's wrong.
Right.
And so we will build it on a foundation of honor, honesty, action, integrity, accountability to do what is right because the biggest thing that I hear from all of my vets is my VA isn't treating me the way I need.
Yep. Yep.
And I know that the psychology element is where I lean in hard to go, I got to help pull you out of the mess, not give you a pill for it.
Right. Right. Because
And
that's the greatest power the VA has, is handing out pills.
yeah. And I hear it all the time. They're like, I'm fucking number 2265489. I'm not Tony, or I'm not
Right.
Jason, or I'm not, William. I'm, a number there. And they go,
Right.
your diagnosis is PTSD, ADHD, bipolar disorder. These are your things. Here's pills.
Yep.
Anxiety. Like, here you go.
Yep.
Depression. Take
Yep. We'll
these,
throw.
take these medications. And you have to take this medication because the one that helps you not be depressed kills your liver. So you got to take
Right.
this one to stop that. You're like, hold
Right.
on, man. Like, hold on.
Yep.
Or
Yeah.
we can get to your core and we can rebuild it. We can tear
Yep.
out the stuff that's tearing you apart.
Yeah. And that's what has to happen, is dig deep and figure out why you're in this place, and how do we fix that? Because
Yeah.
the pills don't work. And
Nope.
you see I've seen veterans 15, 18, 20 different pills.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, well, what does that do? And they're like, I don't know. The VA just told me to take them. And it's like, okay, what happens if you don't take them?
Yeah.
Well, psychologically, they fall apart because they think they have to take them because the VA told them to.
I'm going to share with you outside of this. Like, so people who are listening, if you're like, what are you guys talking about? You'll have to reach out to us. But there are things that I am doing that are permanently helping fix these guys to not need medication. And it is healthy, holistic, safe, all the parts that make it so we do the deep work. We really work on your things. And I go into the fucking fray of the nightmare for and or with you. And we fight our way out together. And I have a lot of vets who are like, dude, my life, it's life debt. Like, what I would be on all these medications if it wasn't for what you just did.
Yeah.
And so there are things I can share with you outside of this that we are doing.
Sure.
That will, it makes it so you're a guy who was on the bomb squad, the fear isn't there anymore.
Right.
The part of him who's like, I can't be around this. Well, we work on that. That's not there anymore. I don't need medication for a thing that isn't a symptom anymore.
Right. Right.
And that's what I really do. And that's why it's fun for us to do these things, because we talk about you going like, yeah, I'm doing the Hero Stock show, or yeah, Rick, you run a Warriors Way group. And like, you don't know. No, what he does is he makes it so the dreams and wishes of people's like deep down purpose becomes a reality. That's a real fucking thing that Jason does.
Right.
And Rick goes into your deepest nightmares and fucking kills the demon that haunts you, so you no longer sleep with a demon in your closet. That's a real fucking thing we do.
Right. Right.
And you go like, man, I thought it was just he does podcasts or he does concerts.
Right. Right.
You're looking at the surface, but not understanding that these two warriors do real things.
Right. Right. We do things that will change lives.
Yeah. This is why I connect with you, man. I'm like, I see someone who also goes into the muck.
Yeah. Yep.
Someone who will do the envelopes, somebody who will do the work, someone who will go into somebody's like, this is so hard. I'm like, well, I'll come in with you.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so our future visions, I want to kind of jump to that quick. We're in our second year as Hero Stock. Future vision for us is, as we expand this, we want to find a nonprofit in Nashville that wants to be a part of what we're doing and wants to be our boots on the ground. They're going to be our advertisement. They're going to be our fundraisers for that area. Obviously we're still going to be reaching out and trying to get funds raised and stuff too, but we want to lean on a nonprofit in that area and say, you're our boots on the ground. These are our talking points. Anything above and beyond this, have them contact somebody from the board so we can explain deeper if you can't. But within that, we are selling tickets for this. And we're fundraising for this. And this event costs $25,000. Anything above and beyond that $25,000, we're going to give you a kickback for being our boots on the ground back to your nonprofit. And it may be 500 or it may be 25,000. That depends on you. You're the boots on the ground. You're advertising this. So the more we sell, the bigger we make it, the more money we can bring into this event, you get a cut of that. And that goes to your nonprofit to help your local nonprofit grow. And then the second piece to that is we're looking at doing instead of for a veteran or a first responder, we want to do a scholarship for a gold star brother, sister,
Mm.
to a fallen officer's child, to a fallen police or a firefighter's child, something like that, to give back to the kids that get affected by losing the brother, the dad, the mom, the whatever it is, and be able to get back to that community too. I say that's probably a 3 to 5 year vision as far as doing that. The first step I'd like to start putting into place next year and start
Man,
working.
you can create something so good for like that one sponsored kid too.
Yeah,
Like 'cause, again, like we're visionaries, and I'm like, if I could make his dream stronger, and we have a kid who like we chose this child whose father was killed or mother was killed in the service, and they are filled with loss and grief and hopelessness, and I don't see how this can happen, and my safety security or my provider or my mentor or my love was just taken. There's a lot of elements to that that are more than just scholarship financial. And I'm like, man, how could I help that? It's like, I would be honored to be able to take that kid and give them the pieces that they just never knew how to work through grief and how to develop growth. They
right.
were stuck in pain and loss and tragedy, and their identity can easily be routed in that loss.
Yeah,
And I'm
yep,
like, I can teach you the way out of that. That you
yeah,
don't, your identity does not have to be a trauma. Your
right.
identity is not what other people have done or not done or happened or didn't happen. Your identity is an authenticity that people will not teach, but I
Yep,
will.
yep,
And so take that kid and go, we got your college, but we also help your mental health not be like, yeah, I've got the degree, but I'm still in pain every day.
right, right.
Like, and this is where I go, like, man, how could I support your dream? And I'm sure if you talk to every single person who's passionate about their thing, like, well, we could do this for them too, Jason, and we
Right,
could do
right.
this for them too, and I can make it so they never buy a shirt again. I'll take care of all the clothes, like they
Yep,
may have my logo, but they'll never buy a shirt again. It's like
right,
one of
right.
those things where how can we make these people's lives better? And I think this is a thing that I hope that people are catching. Like, this is the guy who does that.
Yeah, yeah, because
Like,
that's essentially that's what I want to do. I want to make the world a better place for our veteran first responders and Gold Star families.
mhm,
That is my full goal. Um, and our veteran musicians. Music heals,
yeah,
and that's why it's a big piece of what we do. We were talking about Nashville, and when we went down there, we had a group that was like, "Oh, don't come down here and do your thing because you'll never draw a crowd. You'll get 35 people that show up." And I'm like, "Okay, but we're different. We're different than everybody else that comes down to do this. So we're gonna do this." And like my board's like, and I'm like, "No, we have to go down there. Like this is the place we need to be because music heals, and we're in the heart of music in Nashville. So we're gonna do this." And we've got some really good people down there behind us, and we've got a ton of musicians down there that are veteran artists that are like, yeah, this is fucking cool. Like this is really cool. We want to be a part of this. So we're changing our format a little bit. We had it pitched to us. Well, let's focus more on the motorcycle giveaway than the music portion of it. And I'm like, but the music is the big part of Hero Stock, right? I mean, the motorcycle piece is a super cool piece of it. Giving that motorcycle to a veteran or first responder because now they're changing their bylaws. By the way, they're going from just veteran only. Now they're opening up to first responders and Gold Star families to follow in suit with what we're doing. But I'm like, the music is a big piece of it. So we're changing our format a little bit. Instead of just having the 4 bands, we're going to do 2 writers rounds. So we're going to give 4 veterans an hour and a half to get on stage, talk about their service, talk about the song they're singing, sing their song, and then it goes to the next person. They do the same thing. So they'll do that for an hour and a half. Then we'll have 4 more come up. They'll do the same thing again. And then we'll have a band play, and then Scotty Hastings is going to headline it. And we'll have the bike presentation in there too. And but as we were in Nashville and we were talking to people, like Black River Entertainment is who Scotty just signed to, and they're all about this. So they're going to be helping with social media and that kind of stuff. And I'm looking at it going, this is a win-win. We get to go down to Nashville, hang out in the heart of Music City, do our thing, show off what we're doing. But then we've also got these amazing people that are jumping in with us going, dude, this is awesome. We need this in Nashville. You crack Nashville, I mean, that's a big deal. You crack Nashville and have a crowd, that's a big deal. And I'm like, we're going to do this. Like, it is, I am full steam ahead. We are doing this one way or another. And there may actually be 2 bike presentations in Nashville. We're not sure yet. So, but yeah, I'm very hard headed. And when I see the vision of it, I'm like, we have to.
You have to be. We have to be as stubborn for our dreams, you know, and so again, it's the terminology. I'm hard headed. You're not hard headed. You're laser focused. Your eagle sight is clear. I see something you may not see, but you will.
Right.
I'm gonna keep doing a thing you may not understand, but you will.
Yep.
You know, and so I don't think you're hard-headed. I don't think you're a dumb tile guy. I think you're the fairy godfather. You're the visionary. You have an eagle sight that others won't see until they get closer. And they go, you saw this all along?
Right.
And you're like, yeah, it's pretty badass, right? And they're like, I see it now. Now I get it. I think we have to be stubborn for our dreams, you know, and it's the little things over and over. Your leadership is natural. It's authentic, it's honorable, and it's an honor to team up with you, man. I hope that Nashville nonprofit caught wind of anything that we're doing, because the Warrior's Way, the battlefield of mind, it's going up and to the right. And I hope any noise that we make somehow translates over into a Nashville nonprofit, people who want to sponsor a child of a Gold Star family, who want to help out the vets to break out of the PTSD element of things. Like, there's something that we do that the dream comes true.
Right.
And it just leads to the chain of events that we could never have known would be the way that we got to that vision.
Right.
And that's how it goes. I mean, that's the role of a leader, is just being adaptable, that the path is not going to be clear until we're on the path.
Right. Right.
Yeah. You're a bad motherfucker, Jason Steiner.
Same. I've thought the same about you since I first watched you. So I'm always intrigued watching your stuff and enjoy it. And there's a lot of really good information that you put out within your, not only just in your podcast, but within your Facebook post and that kind of stuff. There's a lot of really good information that people need to take in. And that's why I shared the Warrior's Way with all of my friends.
Appreciate it. Yeah, there's the thing that I find is the most fun for what I do is you guys hear the show. You guys get to hear the podcasts. But when I invite my guys to the underground and you guys get to see like the real gladiator arena where we go and we pull the demons out and fight them for real, like that's where people who really know what I do know what I do.
Right.
You know, because these are the shows, guys. These are the shows. This is where Jason and Rick are talking about the show.
Right.
But then after the show, we're like, all right, going to the arena later. And you're like, dude, I got a demon for you. It's tough. I'm like, bring it. Yeah. Is it doubt? Is it fear? Is it depression, anxiety? Bring them. Right. Bring them. Put me in the ring. I'll show you how to kill that dragon. I'll show you.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah. It's always an honor, man. Well, I know you got to get some rest. Your wish has been put out there. The wishes you're granting will be put out there, and it's time for the things to come in. Be it God, pray for us. Be it the universe, bring it into, attract it to us. Whatever you believe in, pull it towards this direction. But I believe in your vision, and I can't wait to be a part of what makes it stronger and just my one piece that I add to your puzzle. I believe in your dream, bro.
Yeah, man,
Let's
that's
build
awesome.
something powerful.
I'm excited to collab with you. As always, it's something I look forward to. So
Hell yeah. For those of you, Hero Stock, check it out. Like, just give any support that you can. I don't care if it's $5 or $5,000. Give support if you can, and check out all of the people that Jason is doing the legwork to vet to see, are they really worthy of being able to say, I support these groups. Anybody who's going to be in this corner is somebody you should go like, all right, I can get behind this, instead of maybe throwing donations out to somebody who can't wait to put it in their pocket.
right, right, yep.
My dude, it's an honor, man. Thank you, Jason.
Same, brother. I appreciate you having me on, Rick.
Always.